In this video, I'm going to show you how to make a 3.5 kilo carbon fibre roof from start to finish and explain the exact process and the materials I use. So stay tuned. Well, hello YouTube, welcome back to the channel. So this video will be doing a bit of an in-depth, I suppose you could call it a bit of a tutorial really, on how I make carbon fibre roofs. I'm not going to say it's the right way or the wrong way because I've been pulled up on that before. This is just the method that I tend to use, and it seems to work for me. But yeah, I don't know if you follow me on Instagram, but I did an Escort Mark III, Mark IV roof because they're interchangeable, in fact they fit both cars. And the orders have just gone silly. I'm so surprised. It's getting to be a bit of a classic car now, so I really didn't think that this product would be a seller. And I was doing like a group buy of 4 roofs, and it's literally took me a year to make the mould because I said to the lads who arranged it that I'll be doing it as and when I get 5 minutes. You know, it's going to be done as a back burner because it's not really going to be a sellable product. And the reason I'm doing it is because they ground me down. But yeah, as soon as I put a few pictures up on Instagram, it went off the scale, which is great. It's fantastic. I'm very grateful for the support of the new customers. But I did a very quick video with no talking, just put it onto YouTube, and I had a few comments and messages asking me to do a more in-depth video explaining what I'm doing. And yeah, just to basically sort of talk over what I'm doing, why I'm doing it. So I thought, yeah, no problem. So this is going to be a bit of a lengthy video. So if you get bored, switch off and whack something else on, you know, because this will be boring to some people. But no, hopefully I'll be able to explain it. If I don't explain it or you want to know some more information, just put a comment down below and I'll try and help out as much as I can. But I'll be using all the materials that you can obtain from a company called Easy Composites, and if you're into composites, you'll know that firm. They're one of the best out there for supplying materials, and they're very, very well priced. But it'll give you an idea of what goes into making one of these. I'm waffling on, so let's get on with it. And as usual, let's crack on. Enjoy. Okay, so that's it now. I've just finished spraying up the mould with the gel coat. I need to stop saying So the finish is quite smooth and neat, nice and even. It takes a bit of time because the gel coat is quite thick. You've got to go on really thin layers to try and build it up to get a nice even finish. And it's very important to that first layer of like a misting to get like a bit of a tack to it, so that when you put the additional layers on, it doesn't fish eye. So I'm going to leave this now till tomorrow to fully cure, so it should be nice and dry to the touch with no tackiness, and then we can start laying up the fabrics. So call it a day now for today, and we'll be back tomorrow. Back in a bit. Right, so it's the next day. It's all dried fully now to the touch. There's no tackiness whatsoever. Got a really nice surface finish now. That's exactly what you're after. This will allow us to get a really nice polish and a good shine to it when we separate from the mould when it's all done. So what I'm going to do now is get this tape off and replace that with the vacuum bagging tape. It's self-explanatory. The reason I put the tape on is so that that surface is left dry, so the tape has really good adhesion to it, so there's no release agent on it that's going to hinder the adhesion. So let's remove that now, put the vacuum tape on it, and then we can get on with the reinforcement. Let's sort the tape out. Okay, so put the vacuum tape on it now. So I've got my friend Matty from OCD Productions here.
Boom.
Always handy to have an extra pair of hands when laying the carbon up, you know, to get it nice and neat. So to give you information on what the stack's going to be, I'm going to be using 3 layers of carbon, but it's not just the same weight of carbon. This is where the trick comes into it, to try and save labour, but at the same time give it the roof the strength it needs. So first of all, we'll be going on with a 200 gram, which is nice and light. This is the first layer of carbon. That's the one that you're going to see. This is the presentable layer, which has got to be perfect. We'll lay that down. Then we're going to go straight on with a 600 gram herringbone fabric. And this is what's going to give you a lot of strength. And it's also going to prevent a lot of print through as well when I put the Soric reinforcement, which we'll get onto that now. So the Soric is that white roll here. And you can see it's got these like hexagon channels through it. So it's meant to allow the resin to go through the channels, but not through the majority of it. So it's creating the void between the carbon, which is where you get your strength, but it's not absorbing the resin as foam does, which is what increases the weight, is what we don't want. So we don't want any resin in it really. We just want to create a gap between the 2 layers of carbon, which leads on to the last layer of carbon, which is going to be a 400 gram. 400? I think it's 400 or 350 gram. That's the last layer. And then it'll be the peel ply, which will allow us to release the flow media, which is this white stuff here. So without further ado, we'll get on with that, start laying it up. Let's crack on. So that's the first layer down. You can see the weave's perfect now. It's going lovely in the right uniform direction. That's one of the benefits of doing resin infusion, because we're not running the resin through it until we're happy with it. We can keep positioning the carbon, lift it up, move it around if there's any pulls in the weave or it's going a little bit not straight as you like. We can address that. Whereas if we're doing wet lay, when you've laid it down and put the resin through it, you're pretty much stuck with how it is. So again, it's just one of the benefits of this process. But so that's it now. That's the first layer, the presentation layer down. What we're going to do now is start backing this up with the heavier grade carbon and the core material, and then the final layer of carbon. So let's crack on. I've got the second layer of carbon down, but we've got a really important step of this process here, which I think every single composite technician needs to have and do. It's called feeding time. So here's what the lads have got. Matthew's happy.
Pizza.
I'll be back in a bit. Okay, so that's the all the reinforcement fabrics all laid up. Might just go around the outside now, just trying to get rid of any sort of loose strands that might hinder the vacuum seal as we're going around. Had a couple of little funky bits on this last layer which I had to cut out. Sometimes when you get the carbon from the weavers, they can have like a bit of resin attached to the fabric. You just got to cut it out. Doesn't happen often, but sometimes it does. But yes, it's nice and neat, very uniformed. But the carbon's been rotated. So the first layer went on that direction, and this light fine layer is going in that direction, and the internal one was the herringbone layer, which basically went a zigzag across with the weave. Ideally, you'd have it rotating on 45s, but it wouldn't be practical for a panel like this. I mean, that would get you the most strength, but it'd also put the price a lot higher because of the amount of wastage you'd have because of the random cuts in the fabric. But for this sort of panel, this is more than up to the job. So now it's time to put the peel ply onto this surface, trim it up nice, put the infusion mesh on, and then we can start bagging up. So let's get on with that. Right, let's have a little bit of a break in the footage there. Stopped recording for some reason, overheated. But anyway, so I've got the mesh on there now, and I've got the inlets for the resin. So I've got 2 inlets and 1 vacuum on this side. I'll explain why I've done that when it goes into vacuum, so it'll be a bit easier for you to see what I'm trying to explain. But if you look how I've got the pipes connected in, I've got no fancy connections whatsoever. It's just normal hose with a bit of vacuum tape wrapped around it, and I then put the spiral wrap inside the hose. I've just done that on the inlet as well. So like I say, nothing fancy, just as simple as you can get. That's the way I do it, and it seems to work for me. So what we've got to do now is put the vacuum bag on and try and get a good seal and a good vac on it. So let's get on with that. Okay, so we've just pulled the full vacuum down on this. Just let it do a bit of a drop test, see if that gauge moves. But yeah, so as you can see, I've got 2 inlets. It's got the first inlet here, second inlet there, and then your outlet there. Now, again, take this with a pinch of salt if you like. This is not the right way or wrong way to do this. This is just the way I find to do it. For the simple reason, I think it gives you a lot more flexibility if things go wrong. And also I think it's a better way of doing it in terms of a fusion, because if you let this inlet open up first but keep this one shut, all you're doing is infusing this area instead of the whole panel. And as soon as the resin gets to around this inlet point here and just passes it, clamp that one off, and then this area is forgotten about. Then fresh resin will come in here when you open this one up, then you've just got the same distance again to do here, instead of relying on that one inlet to feed the whole part. Because by the time it gets to here, this side of the panel has lost a lot of vacuum. It's become slack. Also, if there's any issues in this, if you have like a pierced hole here or a leak and it lets some air in this area, but it's already infused to say 3/4, the vacuum's not going to have enough power to pull that air through all this resin. Whereas what we could do is we could just clamp that off there, convert this inlet into an outlet, draw the air out, clamp it off again, and refeed the resin through and do this second half. And the same goes for this area. If any issues happen here, you're only dealing with this sort of size panel as opposed to such a large one. So that's the reason I do it. It just gives you a bit more freedom, and if things do go wrong, you've got more options to try and resolve it. So yeah, that's my method. So we're gonna give it another few more minutes, then we're gonna mix up some of easy composite infusion resin. Gonna go straight on with a fast hardener, not gonna bother with any slow hardener. Straight in with a fast cure hardener, and hopefully things go smoothly. So, report back in a few minutes and begin with the infusion. Right, so that's it now, all infused. Had a bit of an issue right at the very end. One thing I'll be very careful is when you're using an infusion mesh like this, is that you've got to make sure it's flat against the part. Unfortunately, mine was up a bit inside the pleat, and I think it burst the bag, which is where you can see it here. I had to literally try and repair it as fast as I could. But as I emphasised before about having the dual inlets, I was letting the resin go in on this side, and it was only here that was a concern. So that side there was fine. Now if I didn't have that inlet here, I'd have to be relying on resin to go in there to keep feeding through all the way to here to draw the air out, which it just won't be able to do. It just won't have enough vacuum. Whereas now it was only pulling from here to there, and that enabled me to have enough time and enough vacuum power to repair this and get it done in time. But yeah, so that's all infused now. Going to leave it overnight, put some electric blankets over it, get up to temperature, and then we'll come and break it out tomorrow. But yeah, there's always something when you're doing composites. It's very stressful. So until tomorrow, I'll see you then. Okay, so it's the following day. The infusion seems to have gone perfect, really. Obviously we had this little issue here where I had a little hole in the bag somewhere, so I had to quickly seal that, but you can see there's no way that's managed to get in there at all. The resin vacuum lines on both lines, there's no air in it whatsoever. So to me that looks like a good infusion. So the next job now is to get the bag off and rip all the consumables off, all the flow media and the peel ply. The way I tend to do is I tend to rip the bag off first and lay it on the floor open, and then as I rip the peel ply off, it's incredibly sharp. So if I put the all the ripped off media into the vacuum bag, I can just roll it up and put it in the bin. It just saves you, it just saves mess. It saves you hurting your fingers. So you've got to be careful when you're doing this bit. But let's get on with it and let's get it. Let's get all the consumables ripped off apart. Right, so that's all that ripped off now. So we're just left with the part itself, still locked into the mould. What I would recommend is when you've got these little bits of cured resin that's come out of the flow media, if you just get rid of them, because you don't want any sort of loose bits of resin that's on the mould or near the mould. Because as we're going to separate the mould, the part from the mould, we don't want any of these little shards to get in between the mould surface and the surface of the part, because it could just encourage scratches, and it'd be a shame after all the effort we've gone to then, put scratches on the part. So I'm just going to give this a nice good clean now, and then I'm going to use this is what I use for getting the part out. I've just got a ruck of wedges, little spatulas, just to sort of wedge and in between the carbon and the mould, just to sort of tease it off. This is quite an important process. You've got to take your time and ignore the noises, because it makes some horrible creaking, cracking noises, and you think, oh god, it's broke. That's just totally natural. You just got to work your way around. Don't rush it. That's a mistake that is very easily done. Do not rush it. Just take your time and just work around the parts, going round and round, teasing it off, and then all of a sudden it will just release. So I'll speed up as I'm just quickly cleaning it now on the video, but when I start getting start trying to release it, I'll go onto normal speed, and then you can see how long it actually takes to release the part. So let's crack on.
Start it up. Lit. Start it up. This is lit.
Life goes up and it goes down. I know my mom taught me that. I figured why we fool around so little, and we keep track of time, being so serious. Idiots thinking it will matter, keep me company downtown before the clock runs out. Sun is shining, but the rain is welcome too. Friends are nearby, don't need another view. Time is not on my mind, but then it's you. Oh, I love it when the love comes around, and then I remember all things must pass. But I'm not gonna wake up, wake up. I'm not ready, let me have another day. Don't wake up, wake up. Keep it steady, cause I'm happy, I'm not gonna wake up. No, no, not yet, whoa. No, not yet, whoa. No, no, not yet, whoa. I'm afraid I'll end up nowhere. They keep saying I'll be fine, but how you know that I'll be there when it feels like I'm lying every time someone asks how it goes, and I save the details that actually mean something. Sun is shining, but the rain is welcome too. Friends are nearby, don't need another view. Time is not on my mind, but then it's you. Oh, I love it when the love comes around, and then I remember all things must pass. But I'm not gonna wake up, wake up. I'm not ready, let me have another day. Don't wake up, wake up. Keep it steady, cause I'm happy, I'm not gonna wake up. No, no, not yet. Whoa, no, not yet. Whoa, no, no, not yet. Whoa. But I'm not gonna wake up, wake up. Don't wake up, wake up. Keep it steady, cause I'm happy, I'm not gonna wake up, wake up. I'm not ready, let me have another day. Don't wake up, wake up. Keep it steady, cause I'm happy, I'm not gonna wake up. No, no, not yet. Whoa, no, not yet. Whoa, no, no, not yet. Whoa, I'm not gonna wake up.
Okay, so it's as easy as that. So it popped out nice and easily. Just took, took me time. Just work your way around the perimeter, just teasing it bit by bit. And it separates nice and freely. You can see it's got beautiful weave, no distortion whatsoever. And it's straight out the mould and it's already got a really nice shine to it. Right, so the next job now is to get it trimmed up and then give it a right good polish, get a nice, really deep shine on it, and then get in touch with the customer and tell them to come pick it up. So let's get on with the trimming.
You wanna go, you wanna leave. So baby, come and get away with me. You wanna go, you wanna leave. So baby, come.
Give me a call. I've been waiting just to hear you. Make up your mind. We got the world just like we used to. Believe in me, baby, when I say that I got cash, let's check out. You're the one I want. So make up your mind, babe.
Come away with me and I will treat you better. Come away with me, I love you like no other.
Okay, so that's the roof all nicely polished now. As I say, I've used a 3M fast cut compound with a green pad. Just give it a quick once over and it's brought up a treat. You can see the weave's nice and perfect. I've also made the front really thin, so when it meets up to the car, you've got less of a step from the front A-pillar to the actual carbon. So if you wanted to, you could have this smoothed into the bodywork and a nice line resprayed, and you wouldn't see where the metal ended and the carbon started. That'd be a nice touch. But that's it, that's all finally done, ready for the customer to come and collect. And I hope you've enjoyed the video. I've just tried to be as honest as I can. I've shown you all the materials and this is how I do it. There's no right way or wrong way, there's just different ways, and personally think this is the best way for me to make carbon fibre products. And it's the same process regardless of what panel I'm making, if it's a roof scoop, a roof, a bonnet, even a door card. It's the same process, same principles. So yeah, please like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.